Back with another episode of Circle of Trades. I am Todd Studer, and the distracted man on the other side of the screen is Travis Waldstein, AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning and Waldstein Plumbing. I love how you never stop working during all of the. Oh, that wasn't a can of beer. I thought you were reaching for beer. What is that?
Yeah. So that is rust breaker penetrate is what that is. So.
Us poor folk call it WD-40.
Well, that's not even WD-40. So.
It's been an interesting year so far. Really haven't had any hot days yet, and as we are recording this, things cooled back off again. Air conditioners probably aren't even turned on today, so not getting a lot of troubleshooting done, I'm guessing.
We're doing a lot of maintenance today. We got some calls. People were, like I said, yeah. So it's good. I'm glad my computer has decided to open up all this stuff as you and me are talking. So this is great. So
I can actually see the light coming on your face, and it's
yeah.
Hey, well, and as you were talking about this, I have a program that's working on compiling sports data for me. So I know, because, you are the title sponsor of our show, Bluff Sports Weekly, and this is part of my Tuesday is I need to know everything that took place. So go here, go here, go here. Give me a list. Let me know everything that took place so I can start hunting down results. And it's working on that right now.
Hey, the one thing that's always consistent in my book, Nebraska still sucks. So you can always put that down.
That's hardwired into the system. So there it is. We've got it out of the way. That wraps up today's
show. So for all my Nebraska friends that just love it when I just pick on you, it's all good. So
since you brought it up, I happened to run across these guys that have a Nebraska podcast, and they hate Iowa with also the understanding that Iowa's better than they are. And they fully admit it.
Is this the guys on the radio station? It's like 95.7.
No, I'm not sure whether this was a video clip that I saw. I didn't dive into it far enough to even know who it was I was watching. I just don't care that much. Mm-hmm. But they were talking about what coaches they should poach from Iowa.
None of them.
Well, and here's what one of them came up with. That and this is what they called it, as a middle finger to Iowa, they should go hire Brian Ferentz as the offensive line coach.
Please do. Please do.
He was an okay O-line coach. He did all right there.
I mean, yeah, well, unless they're going to bring in Matt Entz from Fresno State along to Nebraska, I don't see that happening. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I think he's got a pretty good gig out in the West Coast, so I don't think you'll see him moving anytime soon. And maybe in 10 years, his offense will be worth a damn. So, but I'm more than happy to give that dog shit offense in Nebraska. It's not a problem in my book. So.
Yeah, it's still to this day my favorite football game that I have ever watched in my life is the 2012 Big Ten championship game.
Is when
with Wisconsin and Nebraska. And Wisconsin ran for over 500 yards and put up 70 points on them. Yeah. And, I mean, seriously, I enjoyed that game more than any Iowa game. I am addressing all of this in therapy, trying to, get a wrap on it because, it's a problem.
Yeah, that you don't need to apologize to me for it. I agree. So I'm all about it. So, but
well, speaking of successful things going on, you've got a lot of things, and sounds like you may have a little bit of a bee in your bonnet today.
Yeah, a little bit. So yeah, let's about the stuff going on. Obviously, Celebrate CB. We're helping you guys with it, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be in the parade on Saturday. And by the time this runs it or whatever. But the Avoca Fire Station, we were actually involved with that in the HVAC and plumbing side of things. They have an open house on Saturday. For those of you who don't know, the city of Avoca made an investment in a huge fire station out there. It's a fire station. Originally, it was supposed to be a police station too. There's supposed to be an office in there, and I think it could be. But for those of you that are out close to Shelby, Avoca, Walnut area, I mean, there's a lot of traffic out there. During the winter times when we get snowstorms on I-80, and that area out there, the wind just blows and nothing stops it. And so, what happens is that area just gets, a lot of access, a lot of issues. So that the city made the investment in a new fire station. It's right north of the grocery store there in Avoca, about a half mile off the interstate. So they've got that going on this weekend as part of their deal, and so I'm going to go out there Saturday morning just to kind of see the open house. And I think they're having pretty either hot dogs or I don't know what all they're doing, but I'm going to go out and check that out since we were involved with that. Not that I wouldn't want to be involved with the parade, but it's one of them deals when they made an investment in us and we went out and did work. I feel we need to be out there on Saturday, so we're going to do that. Springtime, lots of stuff, a lot of gardening, starting people in the fields. Like I said, lots of, it's that time of year. My neighbors were planting corn yesterday. So, it's time, it's that time of year. Everybody waits for this time of year. My wife's got the garden from hell starting. So it's fun time, fun time. So,
and I actually yesterday saw some farmers out in the field, and it was really easy to see we could use some rain. Mm-hmm. Because they're planting in a big giant cloud of dust that's all around them. And to me, that says there's not a lot of moisture in the ground right now.
Well, Lily, and we definitely talk moisture. I mean, as far as what we do, no doubt about it. And part of the problem we run into is, groundwater. We talk about water for homes, we talk about water for businesses. They've had issues with it out at regional water, which feeds a lot of them, even the cities. A lot of your smaller towns here around Southwest Iowa have had water issues. Will the wells hook up? Is there, are they in a deep enough aquifer? What's the situation? But, and you can add Thailand, and then you can talk nitrates too, which that's a totally different subject. And I'm not going to even get into that. But no, water is a big issue right now. And so to get a handle on that, there's, we need rain. We need consistent rain. With the last couple winters, 2 winters ago out west, it was really wet, and then it was dry again because they talked about, out in Las Vegas there with the Hoover Dam that, the Hoover Dam had finally came back up, and then it was back down again. So, we're in a kind of a drought cycle. It's probably not as bad as the 30s, but it's not great. And I don't know El Nino, La Nina, or whatever it says, but I've seen some stuff to where they said this could be a record hot summer too, based off of temperatures too, because of what the weather patterns are doing. So, so now is it hot? But if you got no rain, guess what? Is things shrivel up. So it's. There's a lot of things you need in life. You need oxygen, you need water, and oil and gasoline probably ain't that far behind. If you don't have them 4 things in life, life gets to be pretty tough pretty fast. So,
yeah, speaking of which, I was going to ask you whether or not $4 a gallon for gas, over $5 for diesel, is that jacking prices up on the equipment that you have to get in there to do your job?
100%. Every manufacturer on the plumbing side has announced almost double-digit price increases on the heating and air conditioning side. We have a price increase coming up next Monday on our main supplier, but we're seeing it across the board. It's one of them deals. I heard the saying that too long back, and and this is the truth with where everything's at. Right now is the cheapest. Right now is the cheapest time. Is probably the most cost-effective, cheapest time to buy, because nothing is going down in price. That's
Mhm.
just the reality of it. Oh, it's going to come back. Well, look at the housing market; it's not coming back. So,
Yeah, I
uh,
made that mistake. I sold my house when I did because I thought we're at the peak. It cannot sustain this. It went up after that.
yeah, it's not coming back. As sooner people realize that, with the trades, and so I mean, what has with people gets to be so expensive, people want to try to cut corners, which you can only do so much with cutting corners at the end of the day, and that's you cut corners, you create problems, and it's just not the right way to do it. It might cost more, but unfortunately, I still go back to 2019 when it cost to put in a furnace or AC or system or whatever not, and it's more than doubled now. There's financing, but it's more than doubled. You look at what the dollar's worth. The dollar's worth half of what it was back in 2019. So you get mad about inflation or whatever else, but when you print money, when the government prints money and there's money floating out there, and look at some of the political games out there, and I'm not getting into the politics of it. The dollar, nor is any other currency worth what it was 5 years ago. That's the reality of it. It doesn't mean what you're buying. It has increased in value, but it's increased in value because of what the dollar has, what's happened with the dollar, what the economy has been done. And unfortunately, that's there's going to be a day not too long where $100,000, paying $100,000 a year is not going to be that big of a deal, probably in my lifetime yet.
Hmm. Well, it
Just
already is. I mean, that's about where it's at for household income, actually a little higher than that in order to be able to afford to buy a house.
mm-hmm,
That has
100%.
happened already.
Yeah, and that's just where incomes are going. A guy's making 25, 30, 35, maybe $40 an hour is not what it was, back
Yeah.
in 2000. I could be making $20 an hour and be worth the same value as what $40 is today. So, unfortunately, you can't put the genie back in the box, and to correct the problem with it is it's a big problem. I'll just leave it to you at that. So
Yeah.
you can't just put that genie back in the box. So, but
Well, we went from Nebraska hating to, gasoline depression. So
well, it's not gasoline. It's just the economy, and it is what it is. But no, it is what it is. So yeah, dude, we want to talk about more positive stuff. I'm on her ready to roll.
I'm ready. You feed it to me and we'll see where we go.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know me or have been on this, obviously I own two businesses. Hopefully, well, technically, oh, I forgot. Oh, this will be old bedtime. Rusty Cuts, the sales final.
You're announcing it?
Oh, I don't know if I'm officially announcing it, but yeah, it's final. So
Yeah.
I got the note. Donnie Woods is taking over it. So
Donnie
pretty
Woods, the football coach at St.
St.
Albert
Albert's.
in Council Bluffs,
Yeah,
former University of Maryland football player.
I played for the Turds. Yeah,
Coached at Iowa Western,
yeah. Coached
also
at Lewis
coached at
Central.
Lewis Central.
Yeah, so
And
yeah,
he is now the owner of Rustic Cuts.
he's not the risk us now. He's still going to be in St. Albert's doing his role there.
Mhm.
So, yeah, he's until he gets he's got to get this thing going, and he wants to stay involved with the kids and with football and everything else. So, but yeah, he has taken on that challenge, and I know that the rustic cut steel's been kind of an up and down deal for the last, since the deal with the Larsons happened, and management and whatever. There's been all kinds of rumors out there, but you could put the rumors to rest. Rustic Cuts is not going away. Got local ownership, people ties to the community. Donnie Woods, Donnie Woods has always been been a connoisseur. I won a couple pork butts off of him off of betting Iowa Maryland games. Came out very positive for me playing, when we played Maryland, but. No, it's exciting. He's got a lot of ideas. For those of you who don't know, he's got his Hippo hot truck he's been running
Mhm.
for a while. I mean, I think I think he's got a couple partners that he works with. I know. Well, I can't remember the name of the restaurant over in Trainer. I'm drawing a blank here, but I know he's done some stuff with him. That trailer sits over there, but
Jarvis?
Donnie's. What's that?
Jarvis?
Yeah, what is the restaurant over in Trainer? I cannot remember for the. Now I'm getting old.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the meat locker that's over there.
No.
Okay.
The restaurant, actual restaurant,
Okay.
is over there. So
There's tweets over there.
over
That's not
Trainer?
it either.
What is
We're just shotgunning.
Silos.
Okay, there you go.
Silos.
Yeah.
So I think there's some relationship between him and Silos. But he's had that truck for quite a few years out at West Fair and other places around town, and food is his passion, and he's about as skinny as I am right now. So which I'm not picking on what I say, and I own it. So, but that's exciting. He's doing that. He's making an investment. He wants to run it. I think you'll probably see to where he's got some more maybe some seasonal stuff. I know he's looking for ideas to help, especially Lent and Easter and different holidays, different stuff. He's already got vendors lined up, buying material, buying I don't want to say material, but I guess beef. But I think you're going to see some different stuff with Donnie, and I know he's looking to buy local too, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And it's his story to tell, but I know that, the text I got the other night, he was supposed to be putting some big whatever out there on Tuesday, but very happy for him and his wife Libby and the kids, and hopefully I would definitely say get out there, support him, because it's nice to have a place like that here local that can buy you can buy your beef. It's not in one of the big box stores or anything like that.
It's a small place. You're gonna have there's a fresh counter, there's a frozen section too, and it's always been I've always enjoyed going in there, and located up on Veterans Memorial Highway, south end of Council Bluffs, and it is it has been a definite needed addition to the community. I think we need that. We need a place like that.
100%. And he's not going anywhere either. I mean, his wife's been at Iowa Western for a long time, and like I said, he's got young kids, and they're not going anywhere. So maybe someday he'll buy a real truck and get rid of that Nissan. But that's
gotta take shots at folks even when they're not here. No, we'll get Donnie in here. I want to get him on my shows, and we can talk about the process behind that. So
100%. I would definitely reach out to him. Like I said, I know he's off this week, so if you want to catch him, this would be a good time to catch him. So not live, local, and breaking right here.
There you go.
So
also, while we're talking here and promoting things, and again, when this comes out, this will be over with. But the Masons here in town, Kabaya Lodge 631, started about 5 years ago. It started with Burgers for Blues. So they wanted to provide a free lunch for law enforcement. And now it has expanded, and over the last few years. So today they're doing first responders and fire department and fire personnel. So that's who's coming over for lunch today. Next Tuesday on May 12th, it'll be for the police department and sheriff's department and everybody involved with working for them. So it's a good thing they do.
Where's the burger for the tradespeople? Where's burgers for the tradespeople? Come on.
Burgers for trades?
Yeah, burgers for tradespeople.
I think we could probably pull that off. Well, I'll see if we can add a third Tuesday to it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they say, well, they'd be like, Travis, as long as you cover the bill for the burger, we'll be fine with it. God, I'd probably be friggin' broke, but so
no. And also, a thank you. I'm just hijacking your show here. I'm sorry,
but
we want to say thank you to Tom Mulholland at Mulholland's Grocery. He donated a lot of beef for this, and I saw a post that he had just put out recently. For Southwest Iowa, and more specifically the community of Malvern, you got to get out and support this guy. And part of the thing is, his prices are a little higher. They have to be. He can't buy in bulk. He's not going to get Walmart prices on the things that he's able to bring in there. So if it's important for you to have a grocery store, and it is important, by the way, especially, the meat locker that he has there in Malvern and the custom orders that he can do. It's important to support these things. Nobody's saying do all of your grocery shopping every week at Mulholland's, but you got to put it on the list. Yeah. Otherwise, it's going to go away.
Yeah,
because people cannot operate at a loss. You just can't do it. For a community the size of Malvern to have their own grocery store, you need to go visit and you need to support it. So that's my little soapbox.
Here's the part. Two things. Number one, I lived in Shelby for 6 years, from 2002 to 2008. The school closed, the grocery store closed, but then the first year living there. So whether you needed a gallon of milk or eggs or bread or whatever, that we had to stop. That was kind of, you had to support that. And when the town lost, it sucked, because guess what? You either went to Avoca, Harlan, or Council Bluffs. So if you forget your that kind of stuff, it wasn't there, and you didn't realize it, how bad you missed it till it was gone. So that's number one. Number two, don't bitch about how the prices are fine. High at like a Mulholland's or another small town grocery, but then turn around and bitch, well, they're building a freaking Dollar General in town, blah 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 blah. Well, you know why they're built? You know why? Because Dollar General is filling in a need. So if you don't want Dollar General in your town and in your community, you need to support your local. Mm-hmm. You need to support your local people. Sorry, that's the reality of it. So, it's like, not in my backyard. It's like, okay, what's that supposed to mean?
Right.
So so that's what I would tell you: support your local people. Do business with people like, and trust, and and a community like Malvern, I mean, like I said, I think there's only one grocery store in Glenwood now, but that's still a 6-7 mile trip or whatever it is. And
right.
Mulholland's been around for well over 100 years, so anything like that. And there's places like that here in town too, that try to hold on because, they don't want to give out to the big box chains, so. But so 100%, please support local, and and if he's saying, hey, if I can't, people come buy stuff, I can't stay open. That's the truth. You don't buy stuff, you can't stay open. And I know a lot of stuff's going on. The money and things are tight, fuel's higher than hell. But there's wants and needs in life, and here's what I learned: if you want something bad enough, people usually find a way to get it if they want it bad enough. So. But that's
it really depends on where you're putting your priorities. I see some people that scrape together to put $5 worth of gas in their car, but they'll go in and buy a pack of cigarettes.
Shocker.
So that is it is, where are you putting your priorities? And I think, and especially with a guy like Tom, because he supports the area that he lives in. I mean, he gives back to the area that he lives in, and Tom is just one of many stories that are out there.
There's a lot of them around here, absolutely. So, I think you'd say that about Glenwood. Like I said, Trainers. I know Silos, Underwood. I know they got the the new restaurant. I know there's kind of a group of people that have opened. I know there's a hair salon up in Underwood. There's the the new bar there in town. I don't remember the name of it, but some towns are pretty active about trying to get into these local communities that are growing because someone wants to go somewhere local. They don't want to go to Council Bluffs. So if you want to keep them around, it's no different in a local bar. If they serve food, you need to support them. So
I remember back when I was a kid and gas was cheap. But, for the time, it probably was expensive. You could buy a gallon of gas. I think it was for about 57 cents. Now, my tiny little town had a gas station, and Jim Trimble was his name. Jim used to love working on little kids' bikes for him and all of this. And Jim sold his gas at 62 cents. Well, it cost him more to get it over there. But my mother was just up in arms about how can he charge a nickel more per gallon for gas.
And keep the fucking doors open
because it's right across the street. Yeah. We can go over there and put gas in a gas can for the mower. I don't have to drive 13 miles to get to the gas station because Jim's got his station there. That matters. but people oftentimes they just get so zeroed in and they think that, oh, he's just cheating people. No, that's not what's going on.
Are the price shoppers or the value shoppers? That's the oldest conversation on the earth. So, well, now that we talked about good news, support local, and praise stuff, let's talk about what I want to talk about today.
All right, what do you got for me? I'm sitting down. Do I need a seatbelt?
Well, I don't know. I might need an attorney after. No, I've already got an attorney. Never mind. So,
my guess is that your attorney is advising you to not have this conversation, but we're about to find out.
That doesn't mean shit. They know better. So, all right. So I've been I owned an air serv on a franchise. I've owned it for 17 years. So, I've owned Waldstein Plumbing for 2 years. We've got some other stuff going on. Positive stuff. We're trying to, continue to grow the community, be a part of Council Bluffs, Southwest Iowa, sometimes Northwest Iowa, like I got to make a trip up there next week. But you know what I'm saying? So we're definitely trying to be a part of things here. So, as we all know, and maybe we don't know, there's a lot of what I call private equity out there that's out buying up shops. There's different stuff like that. There's also, there's also people that have been in different, industries that are jumping into the trades, HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. As far as that goes, and I've spent a lot of time talking about apprenticeship, get people certified, people trained, working with Iowa Western. And by the way, if Bree and Duty comes out to see you or talk to you, if you're a business owner and are looking at apprenticeship, please take the time to visit with her. They're trying really hard to get people lined up and set up for their apprenticeship programs. We got to support that. So that's my 30-second spiel on that. But here's what I'm seeing. Going back to my point here's what I'm seeing. There's a lot of people, a lot of owners jumping into the trades. And in particular, I'm going to pick on AirServe here for a little bit. So, that are jumping into this that have no idea what HVAC is. And if they do, they don't carry the licenses and certifications to be able to do this. And they're all, and what's happening is that my franchisor is actively encouraging these people to go, for lack of word, go find ringers or somebody who will carry the license, will carry the license for them. Doesn't mean they work for them. I think depending on your state, what the local jurisdiction is, there might be some, what's the word I want to use? I think that there is some stuff going on there, but realistically, if they're working for you, if you open a company, you know how to realize it, but you got someone that's worked with you, it's got experience, it's carrying the necessary licensing, and the people that you're out there are carrying the license and the certifications that you need to do work locally. No problem with that. But here's what I'm seeing. It's a trend, and I think it's going to end up biting somebody really hard in the ass. I'm gonna call it for what it is. It's when you get people you bring in because they got equity and they have money from whatever else, and they will invest it. It's not my job to tell them how to invest it, but when you're telling people to spend $500 to $7,000 a month to hire for hours a ringer, a license holder, so that you have the ability to do your work, but they may or may not be involved in your company. Basically, you're putting your livelihood in somebody else's hands, and I think there's a lot of issues with that. Among the issues is how serious do you take licensing? That's my first question. As someone who's been in the trade for 32 years, and I'm not saying you have to be in the trade for 32 years, but what I'm saying is you have to have time. This isn't something you just show up one day, I'm an HVAC person. That's not how this works. That's number one. Number two, what happens when there is a problem or something you can't figure out or you get in trouble with the local jurisdiction? How is that handled? By the person that holds the license or the local jurisdiction you're working with. I see a problem, and you know, for me, as far as I'm concerned, it's circumventing the system. Circumventing the system and the process has been set in place to make sure we have people that are certified and licensed and know what the hell they're doing. We don't always have to agree on the process or the brain of equipment or whatever, but there has to be the process. There seems to be a thought process that the ringer, and then they can go into business and they can do whatever. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I think you're opening yourself to a real problem with it. What I'm waiting for is for one time, somebody either A, blow up a house, or B, kill somebody because you got somebody who's out there who's not licensed, not insured, or hired a ringer because they want to get an HVAC, and they end up killing somebody for it. And it's air serves name blast it all over. And if you don't believe me, what can happen? There was a house last year that blew. I had nothing to do with it. There's a house down in Glenwood that blew up last summer. You know whose truck was parked right next to that house? You could see over national TV. One of my trucks.
And you
That's
weren't
the
even
reason.
at the house.
I wasn't even at the house. So, but it was an air serv truck that was on national TV. So, I have a major issue with that thought process. I have a major issue with my franchisor promoting that process. And then telling me that we're all equal as franchises. Because I'm going to tell you right now, we're not. Maybe in name, yes, but as far as how they do business and as far as licensing, there's a little bit of an ethics part to me too. Now, if you're, like I said, if you don't have the license, but you're work with someone, you're involved in the business and you're whatever, I get there's partnerships and not everybody has a license. But if you're not hiring a ringer and he's not involved, he or she's not involved in your business except you're writing them a check, you're asking for a friggin' problem. And if your friend and the franchisor is promoting it, they're asking for a bigger problem. But of course, if you read the language in the contract, they're going to go, "Oh well, we didn't tell them to do that." I'm calling bullshit. And, I think there's some people that need to understand the consequences behind it. Now, I'm not against anybody making a buck. I'm not against anybody opening up a business. But I tell you, there's a real problem here. And my franchise owns repair brands. I only belong to one of them. I open a business that's not in the franchise. But I have some real issues with what they're doing. And so, as far as that goes, so I'm going to put that out there as public record. And, like I said, it's no different than if you got two franchises that work next door to each other. One has licensing. One does what they're supposed to do in licensing. They pull their permits and inspections. They do what they're supposed to do versus contractor B who doesn't like to pull permits, doesn't play nice in the jurisdiction that they're supposed to be doing work for, and then it creates problems for the other owner because he's not doing things above board. And there's enough issues with contractors. There's enough issues with contractors in this company about not doing stuff about board, people paying 10, 20, 30, $40,000 and getting nothing returned. We're involved with one right now where a gal paid 40 some $1,000 for something, and it's not a good deal. That like I said, we did not realize didn't realize what the situation is going. We do now. And it's not how I want to do business. Are we perfect? No. We make mistakes? 100%. And if I do, I would expect to have it handled appropriately. But I don't know. I have a huge issue. I have a real huge issue with my franchisor promoter that says, well, it's doing business. It's great until you get your name splattered all over freaking Fox News or, MSNBC or ABC or CBS or whatever it is because, you know, you're trying to cheat the system. And yeah, it's maybe the headlines go for a day or two, but the stigma will last a lifetime, if you know what I'm saying. So that's my rant. I know
Sounds
there's
like a
people in
legitimate
my
one to me.
I know there's people in my franchise that are going to disagree with that and say, and I'm just going to say it's one person's opinion, but I will tell you the other thing I will say is this. I help a lot of people. I mean, I talk with a lot of people about business. I talk about heating, air conditioning. I talk about plumbing, or whatever. But if you're a franchise owner and you haven't been in this trade and you got into this and you've hired a ringer and they're not involved with your, and whoever the Lysol is not involved with your business and you want me to help you, I'm going to have a real hard time helping that person, because, I don't want I don't want my name attached to something that I don't know, that I don't necessarily care for, and I don't trust.
Oh, I fully understand that. I got bent out of shape once in media because somebody changed a headline on a story I wrote and changed some of the content of the story I wrote and left my name in the byline.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was not happy with that.
Yeah. So, absolutely. And so, yeah, I have so this is kind of came up here again recently. I mean, my franchisor has had a record number of franchises come in, private equities out there, people wanting to jump into the game because they think there's a quick buck to make. And that's fine. I mean, I can't tell anybody not to do it, but here's what I'll tell you. I've seen this happen. I saw this happen in 1997 to 2000, and it's kind of happened again. There's a lot of people wanting to jump into this game, and then they're going to find out the hard way, that it's hard to make some money. It's pretty easy to lose a lot of money if you don't know what the hell you're doing. And so, at the end of the day, you could have all the marketing, you could have all the koozies, you could have the trucks, you could have the uniforms, But if you can't go out and do the job, you can't fix it, you can't repair it, you can't offer the customer solutions, and that's not a problem. And my favorite thing I was ever told in this trade, when I went to somebody's house because she'd been on her website, and she goes, "You don't look like the guy on the AirServe page. You're kind of fat." But I said, "Yeah, but here's the difference. I can fix your freaking air conditioner. He can't fix shit."
Is that just an actor that was on the screen? Is that
Oh
what that
yeah,
was?
100%. Oh yeah, with their prop bag and all this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, sorry, it is what it is. So, but anyway.
Well, that is that's a lot. And,
that is a lot.
And I can agree with everything that it is you're saying. Yeah, you need to be able to take ownership of what it is that you're doing. And if you don't have the knowledge to do that, then that's a problem.
I can't tell anybody what to do, but I definitely have my whatevers. And I think they're asking for a friggin' problem. And if you don't like it, tough shit. I hate to bring it to you. I would not want to be in your position and open up myself to liability that somebody is holding the care to my license holder. And for me to be able to do business, I have to have, you got to pay this guy whatever. I'm sorry. That's not how I want to do. That's not how I want to do business.
Yeah,
it's just
makes perfect sense to me. Well, all right, we can submit this video for evidence in the court hearing, and I don't think so.
It's all right.
We'll be fine. All right, big week planned yet?
Yeah,
headed out. Got a lot of excitement going on before Saturday gets here, and you're in Avoca.
Not much. That's about the only thing. My wife works this weekend, so I'm gonna be playing Bachelor. I'm gonna be playing, Homeless Bachelor this weekend. So that's all right.
So not only is she working, you're not allowed to go home.
Well, I go home. I mean, I just hang out in my shop, and work on stuff and smoke cigars and and drink beer or whatever, just because I got no life. So every third weekend I become a bachelor. So
Sure, that makes sense.
it's great. So then once I go out once every 3 weeks on a Wednesday, then I get my ass chewed because, oh my God, I went out one night. But, every 3 weeks I'm a bachelor for 3 days, but it's like whatever. So.
Well, sir, grateful as always for your time. This is one of the highlights of my week. Every time I get to sit down and do this, whether it's in person or whether it's virtual, hopefully we'll be able to do another one outside very soon. And I have to actually, the last one of those that we did where we were at Bottom Bend, I left a chair there, so I got to go back and get it.
Actually, if he's around on Saturday, if I'm going to Avoca, if he's around, I can stop and pick it up for it because I can drive right by it on my way to Avoca or on my way back.
Yeah? I'm not sure if he's going to be there or not. I know I got to get up there and get it.
Well, just that you might get a hold of him and say, I'll be up there. If he's up there, I'll just stop and grab it. But I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to drive clear over to Timbuktu.
All right, sir. Grateful for your time as always. Go out and make some money. And above all else of everything that we talk about, go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
All right. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Circle of Trades. Back soon with another one. Until then, take care.